But let's also take stock then of Affle India, where the revenue has seen a little bit of weakness this time around. The contribution of the Jampp business has been good, and let's talk about the EBIT as well, which has risen. Anuj Khanna Soham is the founder as well as chairman and CEO of Affle Limited and now joins in on the show. Thank you so much for taking time out. Let's begin then with the numbers, because on a sequential basis, we did see a little bit of a decline in your revenues. Despite that, your EBIT has increased. So what has aided that? Was there some sort of a one-off in the numbers?
Well, thank you for having me on your show. Well, first of all, I think the way we have to look at the Q4 performance has to be on a year-on-year basis, not on a sequential basis, because Q3, as all of us know, in the advertising-linked businesses is always due to seasonality, the highest quarter in any given financial year. That's been our trend for last decade as well. And what we see here is that in Q4, on a year-on-year basis, we have grown our revenues over 122%. And that's been backed by the robust growth in the conversions that we have seen with users, which has grown 91% year on year. And the CPCU rate, which we are able to charge per conversion, has actually gone up year on year about 25%. So not only has the volume gone up, our ability to charge on unit economics has also gone up on a year-on-year basis. And when you compare it sequentially, Q3 to Q4, I think all investors need to know that it will always be the trend in any industry that is focused on advertising, that Q3, October, November, December, due to festive season and seasonality, would always be the highest quarter. And Q4 results this time, I'm actually very, very impressed with the way our team has delivered. And on all broad bases, India, international, organic growth, which has been over 45%, inorganic growth with Jampp and so on, has been really fantastic. So I'm very, very satisfied with our performance. And there's no one-off that one could take it. It's a consistent trend.
Right. What about the contribution from Jampp in the quarter? Because how has that impacted your overall margin picture? And, you did mention that the aim was to bring it to high single digits. Now that that's largely been achieved, what's the next target and how do we see that business perform in the near term?
Well, I think Jampp's contribution is largely on the top line. About a third of our revenue is contributed through Jampp. But on the bottom line, or from an EBITDA perspective, over 91% of the EBITDA is organically sourced. And so the contribution to EBITDA has been relatively muted because Jampp, as you mentioned correctly, within the year one of the acquisition, it contributes only a high single-digit profitability, which was as per plan. Now, we expect that in year 2 and year 3, by the time in the next 24 months, we will bring it to a much higher level, like a high teens kind of a contribution in terms of EBITDA. And that will absolutely increase the overall margins of the business as we continue to grow, both organically as well as inorganically.
So tell me, Anuj, what kind of disruption are we anticipating in the user acquisition campaigns in the future? And how do you think Affle is ready for, or rather gearing up for those challenges?
Well, we are seeing a multi-year, trend of greater digital adoption, both from the consumer side at one end, where the emerging technologies, we are hearing more about metaverse, and, the advertisers on the other end are also gearing up for all kinds of digital disruptions. But one thing is absolutely clear. Across emerging markets, across emerging verticals, the advertisers are spending disproportionately bigger percentage of their budgets on digital, especially on mobile and connected devices. So, as you have seen, Affle's platforms have won, the best technology enabling platform awards at, most of the industry awards in India over the last 3 years. And we continue to invest to help our advertisers go deeper with consumers, with vernacular experiences, more connected devices, connected household experiences, both online worlds, offline worlds, and hybrid world experiences for the consumers. And we are really helping our advertisers go in deeper with that. In fact, in our earnings report this time, we've included 3 case studies which cover healthcare, which cover online and offline retail. It covers also vernacular innovations to give you a deeper flavor of what we are already doing with the advertisers.
I want to quickly talk about 2-3 things here before we wind up. You continue to have cash on your books close to about 600 odd crore rupees. How is it that you're planning to deploy this?
Well, we have always been, a company that has been growing cash. So if you see our, cash flow, operating cash flow to PAT ratio for FY22, it's been a whooping 112% or so. We are generating cash every month, every quarter, every year, consistently for last 5 years from our operations. And of course, the balance sheet keeps getting stronger. And therefore, we definitely look to fund our inorganic growth plans as well as do further organic investments into international expansion. And we are constantly investing in, upgrading our products and platforms. As I mentioned before, the backbone of the company is the Affle 2.0 consumer platform stack. And on that, we are, doing exceptionally well.
Hi, good morning. This is Nayanthara joining in on the conversation. Now, there is a trend that we've noticed, and that is in the last quarter of every financial year, there's a drop in the number of users. Is this something about seasonality? Like, why is that the case?
No, it's not a drop in the number of users at all. In fact, the number of users has been consistently going up. But what happens typically is that the number of conversions, the amount of shopping, the transactions that people do is typically higher in October, November, December periods, thanks to Deepavali, thanks to Christmas, thanks to school holidays, and so on and so forth. So you'll always find the seasonality effect in the October, November, December quarter versus January, February, March. This is not a case of users or user dropping, but a case of how much people are actually transacting, converting, and spending, and consequently, how much are the advertisers spending in the Q3 versus Q4. This will always be the case, has always been the case, and I expect that to continue. It's a standard trend that we would see in our business.
Okay, so now we understand what's really going on. Thanks so much for joining us live today and taking us through the fine print of the earnings as well.
Thank you.